All right, the New York Jets just made a franchise-altering move. And it has been proven true based on recent comments by Aaron Rodgers. Hey, if you are new to this channel, we love covering the NFL, but we are Lions fans. So we decided when Aaron Glenn went to the Jets, not just that, but Jets fans, we understand you. Like, we get it. Our organizations throughout the years seem to have so many commonalities. We get you. We understand the love that you have for your team and the understanding of disappointment that you have. We also understand the feeling of what it means to be like what it feels like a little brother to other teams that are kind of, you have to play in their shadow almost. And, like, we get it. We understand where you're coming from, so we wanted to give you a fair shake at what your team's doing and give you an inside source of what you're looking at with your new head coach. And when I'm reading this article on The Athletic about Aaron Rodgers criticizing the Jets, criticizing Aaron Glenn, it makes me love the Jets and Aaron Glenn more. And I promise you, I am not a bitter Detroit Lions fan. I don't have a hatred for the Packers, believe it or not. I really don't. One of my favorite quarterbacks growing up was Brett Favre, right? And Aaron Rodgers, I don't like because I don't like him. All right, and I know he was your quarterback for 2 years. And you might have some feelings about Aaron Rodgers. You may have liked the time that he was there. You may not have liked the time that you were there. But I truly believe his mouth and the way he treats others, like I'm not saying he's not a nice guy, but he doesn't have his priorities in the right place to lead an NFL franchise right now. And these are the kind of comments that he's just going to fly off at the mouth that proves that the Jets now have the backbone that it takes to be a successful organization. And Aaron Glenn is the guy that's not going to mess around with it. Aaron Rodgers went on the Pat McAfee show. And by the way, if you're going to have a quarterback that's going to be on the Pat McAfee show every week and that quarterback's Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be a circus. It just is. You know it. You've seen it. You understand what it's like. So here's what Aaron Rodgers had to say. He said, I figured that when I flew across the country on my dime, there would be a conversation, Rodgers said. Now, he's not setting it up. Aaron Rodgers probably chose to go there, right? They didn't even probably invite him. He said, I met with the coach. We start talking. He runs out of the room. I'm like, that's strange. Then he comes back with the GM, so we sit down, and I think we're going to have this long conversation. I've flown across the country, and 20 seconds in, I'm talking to the GM, and Glenn leans into the edge of his seat and says, you're sure you want to play football? And I say, yeah, I'm interested. And he said, we're going in another direction at quarterback, and all Jets fans should be like, yeah. Now, we know what that direction is now. It's Justin Fields. And Justin Fields, for all of his flaws and all of his faults, has some unbelievable upside. And if you want a team that's going to play good defense, which is what Aaron Glenn teams are going to be focused on, and then has a multiple offense that is effective enough to win, that's what they're trying to put together. They're also not locked in to Justin Fields as their quarterback. You never know how the draft is going to shake out if they want to get a quarterback of the future. But we're not going to get there just yet. All right, so this is very interesting. This is where it gets real interesting. So Aaron Glenn then asks Aaron Rodgers about the messaging of how he wanted his release to be announced. Now, to me, this is Aaron Glenn being a nice guy. He's like, look, and here's what you're going to learn about Aaron Glenn really fast. And it's very interesting in the New York media to have a guy like this. He doesn't care. He has his opinion, and he is shockingly stubborn. In fact, we have a new defensive coordinator now in Detroit. Aaron Glenn was our D coordinator. And so Kelvin Shepard's our D coordinator. And what we've been saying on our other channel, Sports Talk Detroit, is we hope Shepard brings a lot of the same type of, the same playbook, a lot of the same things that Aaron Glenn had, just with a little more humility, right? A little more willingness to bend and change and take advice from others. Aaron Glenn knows what Aaron Glenn wants to do, and he doesn't care what you think. So Aaron Glenn is sitting here being like, this is what's happening, Aaron. You are going to be released. But he is nice enough to ask the question, how would you like it to be announced? And according to Rodgers, Glenn said, I don't want to be in front of the room saying something and have guys looking back at you. And I said, this is Aaron Rodgers saying, are you assuming I would be in the back of the room during a team meeting undermining what you're saying? You don't know me. And he said, you don't know me. And then I said, exactly. That's why I flew across the country to have a face-to-face meeting with you. All right. This is awesome. Aaron Rodgers, of course, takes offense to it. And I'm telling you, from what I know of Aaron Glenn over the last 4 years in Detroit, everybody talks about how he is the best coach to play for, how he is a leader of men, how he respects players, how he cares for his players, that he was a player, so he's not going to treat a player in a way that he wouldn't want to be treated. He is not trying to undermine Aaron Rodgers. He is trying to do two things. He is trying to allow Aaron Rodgers to leave with dignity, saying, how would you like the release to be announced? And he is trying to protect his football team. He is trying to protect his football team from whatever Aaron Rodgers may try to do. Because Aaron Rodgers, some love him, some hate him, but there are many that are loyal to him. So if he wants to divide a locker room, he has some of the ability to do that. Aaron Glenn was handling this the right way. But of course, Aaron Rodgers goes out on Pat McAfee and blasts the New York organization. He talks about how the last 2 years have been iffy there and he's glad to leave. He talks about how the GM told him that Aaron Glenn went a little rogue in that meeting. He's saying all these things. This is the kind of crap that you don't want in your organization. And if I'm Aaron Glenn, as I'm watching this interview, I'm looking at the GM. I'm looking at the other coaches. I'm looking at the players, and I'm saying, this is why we released him. He cares about himself more than anybody else. And this is why we released him. And this is why your organization is going to change. Because you have two people, and a GM and a head coach, that were willing to walk in, that were willing to make the decision that they believed was right for the organization. And it's not going to matter what the owner says. It's not going to matter what the media says. They are going to do what they believe is right for the New York Jets. And that is why the New York Jets organization has a shot to turn around and become a quality franchise. They have the opportunity. We've seen it happen with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, and Aaron Glenn was a huge part of that in Detroit. And now he's going, and the GM is coming from Denver, all right, who's been sitting there under Sean Payton for the last few years. So there's all this kind of same type of mindset, mentality. You're in a good spot. Trust it, and we want to start being one of your go-to places for Jets football. So if you're still watching and you like what this is, hit that subscribe button. There's other teams that we cover as well. But this is, I think this is about the only team that we cover in the AFC East. Maybe a little bit of the Dolphins. So, but with that being said, hit that subscribe button. It would mean a lot. Hope you like it. And I hope you don't just love Aaron Rodgers, because you probably wouldn't like this video if you did. And if you did, you probably wouldn't still be watching. So we're all good. Thanks. Hopefully see you on the next one.